We have more big stories to dissect today, my friends, as we have made contact to sign this Brazilian star, on top of big transfer stories, exciting club news, and more news developing around this Enzo Fernandez drama. And I have to say, I'm going to give you guys a warning in advance, but I'm starting to get a little bit pissed off by the reaction to this story. So yeah, my friends, a lot to unpack right now. You know what to do. If you like the video, if you want to support the channel, hit that like button. And of course, don't forget to take advantage of my 10% off discount code in Needy10 to get 10% off your purchase if you buy this season's home kit. And I have to say, me personally, I think this thing absolutely slaps. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's waste no more time. And now let's discuss and tackle some transfer stories. And this story is very surprising. After recently signing Renato Veiga, the player the club have been revealing throughout media, suggesting that he could be here, he could be a surprise package. You know, he costs less than Calafiori. This is someone who's like a long-term target we believe in. Already we are linked with another defender, and it is none other than Murillo of Nottingham Forest. And this time, this story was broken by Italian journalist Gianluigi Longari. Now, he has a big reputation in Italy, and he reveals that we have made initial efforts and contacts with Nottingham Forest to try and engineer a move. Now, this news reveals quite a lot, and I think the thing immediately on all our minds is that if we are still attempting to sign another defender, clearly this means that we have plans to sell existing defenders within the squad, because otherwise it's just a bit too greedy, no? Anyway, the player revealed in an interview with I think Brazilian podcaster Benjamin Mucho, and I know I'm definitely getting that wrong, but essentially he confirmed our interest, so this is real. And he also revealed that when he signed for Nottingham Forest last summer, he signed with a career plan in mind. We'd only be there for 1 year, and that should be enough time to engineer a move to a bigger club. So he has the ambition, he knows his qualities, he knows what he can do, and he is ready and more than good enough now to play for a club at a higher level. Forest fans have been saying for time he's one of the best players they've ever seen, and I think he's one of those guys that fits the current meta we're seeing in defenders. You know, Gavardio, Calafiori, Murillo. These guys are just so exceptional at ball carrying, stepping up in midfield, playing through the lines, and most importantly, contributing something in the final third. They're very intelligent, very aggressive on the ball, very good on the board as well. And it's quite clear that he could play that inverted style role that Maresca wants to have in the team. But obviously, if you're making attempts to sign someone like this, who could possibly be leaving? Many players have been linked with moves away. At the moment, it seems whoever gets the best fee can go. And clearly, you look at players like Trevor Chalobah. You're looking at players like Ben Chilwell. Does he really have a future now, considering that Maresca will use the left back as the inverted player and not as the overlapping fullback? Could the club really consider selling Marc Cucurella? You'd imagine after his excellent Euro 2024 exploits, he'll have a lot of interest from big clubs around him, and this could be the optimum time to sell Cucurella for max value, because could he consistently repeat that Euro form throughout the entirety of the season? It's interesting that this story has just not died, and I can't imagine Murillo remaining at Nottingham Forest this summer. So right now we wait to see how this story develops, because this isn't false, this isn't fake. Let's see how the story continues to develop, my friends. Share your thoughts and opinions. Do you think Murillo is needed, or do you feel like Maresca has enough to work with that he should be satisfied with the quality of defenders he already has? And now let's move on to discussing more updates and news surrounding Enzo Fernandez. And I have to say, Enzo has really opened up the Pandora's box with this one. Wow, it's getting crazy, and I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed by the reaction, and I'm going to explain to you guys why, because I like to keep things honest. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not one of those YouTubers that needs to go for validation, but I'm going to keep it real with you guys when I feel a certain way about things. But regardless, to start with things, I want to get you guys to remember how this whole fiasco originated. So side by side, you're seeing Enzo Fernandez singing and you're seeing Fofana's reaction. Please remember this, yeah? Enzo's clip lasted 40 seconds. Fofana posted a 5-word tweet and a few emojis. Now, I want to discuss the latest developments surrounding this. Everyone's starting to weigh in now in this aftermath, and I feel like the water is getting a bit murkier and I'm not really liking it. Now, earlier today, as I said in the previous video, Argentina have sacked their sports manager after he suggested that maybe Lionel Messi should apologize on behalf of his teammates singing, not Enzo Fernandez, his teammates. This was confirmed by the office of Argentina's president on Twitter, and I think it's crazy that Argentina's president was even caught retweeting a tweet suggesting that the song spoke the truth about the French national team. But to be honest, I expect nothing less from a populist far-right leader, but I have to say the cult of Messi is kind of crazy, and it's got me thinking, is like Messi secretly Homelander behind the scenes or something? Because the way Argentinians idolize him, I know he's the greatest football player ever. I love Messi, I think we all do, but they love and eulogize this guy on a different level. Regardless, this minister in Harrow handed in his resignation and even apologized in case he offended anyone. And it's weird because he didn't even ask for Messi to apologize on Enzo's behalf, but on the whole team bus, because I know you guys are seeing the clip beside me. I think it's quite obvious that it's more than one voice singing this song other than Enzo Fernandez, and I feel like that is constantly getting ignored and constantly getting forgotten about right now. And was the sports minister wrong in expecting maybe Messi to maybe step up as a captain, tell his teammates to shut up, be responsible when he's one of the most recognizable and biggest sporting figures on this planet? Anyway, Spurs keeper Hugo Lloris came out in defense of his French teammates today, saying it doesn't matter if you are in a moment of euphoria because you have won an important trophy. It demands even more responsibility when you are a winner. You don't want to hear or see this kind of thing in football. We all stand against discrimination and racism. I just think and hope it is a mistake. We all make mistakes sometimes and hopefully they will learn from it. And I think that's a pretty fair thing to say. If French players sung this derogatory song towards Argentinians, you'd expect the same type of energy, right? But I agree with the sentiment, keep it classy when you win. To post this on social media, to incriminate yourself for free, for no reason. It's just absolutely baffling to me, to be honest with you. Anyway, we are getting more defenses pouring out towards Enzo Fernandez, and one comes from his actual father. Enzo's father says, Enzo feels bad, he did not mean it. He already apologized on social media and to his Chelsea teammates, but his teammate in Chelsea didn't even ask him to apologize or anything. He could have contacted him and asked for it. He straight went to social media in a minute. I know who my son is. He is not like that. He's not racist, never. It's hard for a European to understand our football culture like chants and celebrations. He recorded that live video at an inopportune moment. It was bad. He didn't even realize what he was singing. In 2014, when Germany beat us, they imitated how Gachos walk and called us ignorant. In 2018, France mocked Messi for his height. We never came out to say we were being discriminated against. Oh. Can you see why I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed now? Because there's this modern day phenomena that I just absolutely despise and that really, really annoys me. And it's this word called false equivalency. False equivalency is misleading comparisons to create this fantasy and illusion that two unrelated things are equal, and I constantly see it every single day on socials, non-stop. I don't know, it really pisses me off, I can't lie. I mean, how in God's beautiful name can you equate Messi's height with derogatory statements used towards Mbappe hitting in transvestites and being from Cameroon and Nigeria and not even being a real Frenchman? And I just think it's outrageous that you can try and force that. Listen, parents will defend their kids. I get that. I'm sure his dad's probably told him off behind the scenes saying, what the hell have you done? You're putting yourself in this mess for no reason. But the false equivalency, undermining it. Oh, it's just our sports culture. You don't get it. The thing is, I kind of do. I've been saying, when they sung that song, this is just that toxic type of, derogatory football banter that we see all the time that is kind of just ingrained in the sport. A lot of education is needed so we can try and elevate as people and leave some of these ways behind. I know not every nation and country is on that same level. I'm sure these are talking points that don't really exist in Argentina. So when they're exposed to the rest of the world, it's really going to put everything into light and you're going to be, condemned worldwide. But to continue on with some of the poor defenses coming out, and I'll be talking about the poor being interviewed on a podcast, weighing in and giving his thoughts on the situation. And he said, there is a bit of malice in wanting to put Enzo in a place that has nothing to do with him. If a teammate felt offended, the way is to call him, not to put him on social media. And this is where I'm starting to get a bit annoyed. It's starting to border on getting angry now. How is Fofana now starting to be seen as the villain? It's Fofana's fault, yeah. How dare he not publicly talk things over with Enzo Fernandez? Did Enzo Fernandez not publicly incriminate himself for over 40 seconds? Did we not hear at the end of that clip someone saying turn it off right now, as if people knew exactly what the ramifications of this was set to be? How is Fofana, who just disproved of what he saw that was publicly being generated over the past few days, how is that on the same level of what Enzo Fernandez did? Does that make any sense? Is that even fair? I know some will try and not see the fairness in that, but I'm all about fairness, yeah? And I just don't see how that's fair. For someone to be on the offensive with that stupid song, to be public with that, and then someone being on the defensive by publicly airing their disapproval. Now, I really need to reiterate this. I don't think Enzo's racist. I don't think the Argentinians did it to be racist. I see it as essentially, imagine back in history, the raiders have raided a village, they've pillaged it and they've got their enemies' heads, cut off and put on the stake. And you're just kind of parading that around. We defeated our enemies, and we know that Argentina and France did have that bit of football rivalry going on in the build up to that World Cup final in Qatar. I get that. But the issue is when you sing that type of song, you are promoting and validating the words and sentiment expressed. There's a lot of stupid football chants from a lot of stupid people that watch football. Lots of idiots, it's just a bit of banner. Why does it concern you? Why are you making a big deal? They're stupid. They don't get it. They'll never get it. And you're essentially giving free publicity to that type of person, to that mindset, to that belief, to that sentiment. This is where it's an issue, where the big stars of your nation are happily grinning, jumping up and down, singing a song like that to, essentially mock the nationality of French players. Oh, come on. These guys were making a big fuss about. These guys aren't even really French, they're all from Africa. If we really played against France with all these white guys in the team, we'd beat them 5-6-0. You're promoting a really silly and really backwards mindset, and I think that's why it really annoys me. And also, what does that sentiment mean to maybe other people in the squads? If you're looking at your Starlings, you're looking at your Reece Jameses, are you not really that English because, you're Jamaican or you're half black? This is where the waters get really murky, and this is where Enzo Fernandez will have to really grovel, make up for things, and he will have to really show with his actions now. He can't be defensive, he can't be a little boy. He's got to rise to this, and he has to now really acknowledge his actions and what he's done. I'm sorry, I'm more bothered by the poor's reaction instead of the Argentinians' action. Everyone's more bothered by the reaction and feeling offended by that, and they're constantly forgetting that their actions led towards this. Because here's my take on this really, yeah? You're coming out here trying to blame Fofana when actually you should have been, myself and the rest of the Argentinian squad, we won't let Enzo take the fall by himself, because he was not the only man on that bus chanting and jumping up and down to that song. We all were. We all supported that. We were all there with him. We as a collective squad, we all are against racism. We all are against the narratives we were putting out there, how we behave, and we will take collective responsibility as a squad over that terrible incident on the bus. That's what you come out to do. You don't let Enzo take, you're doing the same thing. Let's not pretend that you and others weren't on that bus, jumping up and down singing. We all heard the collective voices there. It's probably not the first time. You don't know the lyrics off by heart, for God's sake. You know the lyrics bar for bar. It's probably not the first time you've all sung this, yeah? So, be honest. Yes, you're not racist, but you're silly, you're ignorant, you're stupid. Come out there and collectively share the blame with Enzo Fernandez. This is how this situation works. It's reactions like this, it's takes like this, it's going to give more life to this incident, it's going to escalate it, and it's going to make it take on more uglier forms. I think we're already seeing this with the responses throughout social media. It's a bit of a shame and a bit of a disgrace, in my opinion. And for myself, it's just another reminder that as a species and a society, we are just a lot more backwards than we realize. Yeah, you know, we've got fancy gadgets and phones and we can send things wirelessly, blah, blah, blah. But internally, mentally, how we think, we're still quite backwards. And I've always felt like when you look at like Proverbs in the Bible, I know I'm really going on with this, it really does highlight what human nature has always been about. We haven't really changed in terms of how we think and move. And, you know, stuff like this just kind of reminds me that we're still like a long way away from, you know, actualizing ourselves or being better. So yeah, that's the latest on the poor defenses. Let's now move on to ending things with transfer news and club news. For the next story, I want to remain in Ligue 1 as we discuss big reports coming out from Liquid involving former Chelsea target and Elye Wahi. Now, Elye Wahi signed for RC Lens for around £30 million. It became their record signing last summer, failed in our attempts to sign him for Montpellier, where our plan at the time was to then loan him out to Strasbourg last season, but the player decided against that, and as he told Liquid, he said, "Chelsea, I didn't want to go there for the sake of it. Frankfurt were close, I would have signed for them, but at the time complications arose because I was waiting for Colin Mwani, of course, to leave for Paris Saint-Germain. The timing wasn't there, and I was enticed by RC Lens." And that tells you everything you need to know, that he cares about his career, his development. He wants to play, and he wasn't necessarily feeling the confidence in our strategy to loan him out to Strasbourg last season. Now, Liquid mentioned today that we've already made inquiries to figure out the costs and finances over a move like this. However, another club is showing interest, strong interest, and that club has been revealed to be West Ham. Now, what's interesting to add is that Lens are also showing interest in forgotten Chelsea man in Malang Sarr. Now, are we finally set to get rid of Malang Sarr, a player that just was never needed to begin with? In the meantime, it comes down to whether Sarr wants to leave us to sign for Lens, but I'd be surprised if we didn't want to, because there's still a decent club and there's a good opportunity to start getting some substantial minutes. And you think to yourself, could Sarr and Wahi's futures be intertwined? Let's watch this space. But to move on, but going back to me mentioning the TV rights deal situation in Ligue 1, is there an opportunity for us now to take advantage of that financial mess? As I said, an agreement in principle has been made up to the tune of around £500 million. That will be spread out over the next 2 years. But the reality is the deal just isn't good enough based on original expectations, and currently the league's finances are now closer to leagues like Portugal and Holland compared to the traditional powers the top 5 leagues typically have. Now recently, Lens have appointed Will Still, the former Stade Reims manager, as their new manager, so ideally they'd like to reinvest into improving the squads to help Will Still. In the meantime, they are close to selling last season's star midfield player Emile El Nawi, who is probably set to sign for Monaco for around €20 million. Now that's a massive flip, as they signed him last summer for £600,000 and they're now set to sell him for exponential amounts of profit. So it does give a small example of the fact that Lens are open to selling so they can reinvest back into their team. After becoming their record signing, you'd imagine they're still going to want some decent profit for the player's sale, but if we could structure a deal where Lens can have like, you know, quick cash flow and time for right now to help them with their issues, what happens with these inquiries? Would Wahi be open to a move? Who knows? But I feel like the fact that we are signing him for our squad now, he may feel, you know what, I have more confidence now in accepting Chelsea's proposal because they actually need me, and I feel like I could battle alongside Nico Jackson for that first team spot. Now last season he scored 12 goals and got 4 assists in around 35 appearances. That was like 28 starts and 7 sub appearances. Now last season wasn't necessarily perfect, especially in the first half in 2023, because Wahi didn't arrive in the best physical conditions. He had to get used to a new environment, new teammates, and he was quite naturally rusty in 2023, only scoring 4 goals and getting 2 assists in that period. However, fast forward to 2024, he got 8 goals, he got 4 assists, and all these goals he scored came from the beginning of February until the end of the season. He was scoring on a much more frequent and regular basis, and he was showcasing why he's one of the best young strikers in Ligue 1. And I feel like this guy's a talent, I'll keep it real. I think he's like, what, 6'1", 6'2", stupidly explosive. But you know what I really love about this guy's game that I've always liked? He is so acrobatic. And it's like, how often do you see like strikers scoring those acrobatic type of goals? I mean, this guy loves a bicycle kick. He already has scored like 4 or 5 in his career already. His acrobatic nature means that he can convert chances that other strikers typically can't. But in terms of his finishing, he can score with his head. He can score either foot, left foot and right foot equally. He can play on the shoulder, he can link the play by combining closer to teammates. I can see why he was someone that fascinated our directors and why we have attempted to make moves. After seeing how we are losing out on options in the striker market this summer, if Wahi is available for a decent fee, could business be done? This could be the opportunity that Wahi may feel I can't afford to miss out on, because if I sign for Chelsea, you'd imagine that they'll be sticking with me and Jackson for at least the next 1 to 2 years, and I know within that time I could announce myself as the leading striker at this club. So let's see what happens, and how do you guys feel about the news? So my friends, that is all the latest club news, Enzo news and transfer news out the way. Share your thoughts and opinions, hit that like button as well too. And yeah, I think I'm done. I'm hungry. Well, thank you for watching. Cool.